Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be reviewing this last set from Diamond Press for the HSN Craft Day for September 11th. The items are available right now. This was sent to me free of charge from Diamond Press for my review, and of course all opinions are my own. And if you were to use any of the links in the description box to make your purchases, they are affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you were to make any purchases through them. So thank you guys so much. So this is a fun one, and they only uploaded, I think, on HSN just a couple days ago. This is the Rustic Wreath shaker set. You know, we love our shakers. There's also a refill kit for it, which I would recommend just because it does have, you know, all the different sizes, the larger size for the A2 cards. So it's the larger foam, it's the larger metal shim, and those are always great to have handy, some extra ones. Well, let's just get right to it. I did want to mention that if you received Diamond Press's newsletter, they did make mention that if you were to purchase all 8 sets, which I know a lot of people do, through HSN for the craft day or prior to, you can email them proof of that purchase, and it doesn't matter if it was over several days, just as long as you can, you know, have the proof that you had purchased all 8, they will give you a $25 gift card for mydiamondpress.com. So that's really a fun perk. So definitely check that out. I'll have the email in the description box, just in case you don't receive the newsletter, you'll have that information. So let's open this up. And you might have seen a sneak peek of this with Beth Kingston last night on Facebook, as far as, you know, some of the things you can do with it. So let's just start. So these are our foam pieces. So what Diamond Press does is that they always include this foam that you cut into, and then that's just, instead of, you know, fiddling with foam rolls like I have here, these kind of things, and especially when something's more intricate, it's already going to cut it for you. So that's why they have the pieces like that. It's a really smart design. And then they always have metal shims to help you cut into your acetate. Sometimes if you try to cut something plastic like this in the folders, it might just kind of indent it really well, almost cut through, but you need that little piece of metal behind it to give that good oomph to cut through, right? So it comes with those there. And then we have, of course, an extra cutting folder, always. And then we have our stamps and our dies. So let me try and let me get a better visual on the stamps there. Okay, so we have really pretty nice large wreath here. I'll measure that, but the dies are always, you know, a little extra around them, but let's see. That is about 3 3/4. So maybe with the die, I can't tell if the die is right on it. You know, I think the die is right on it this time. I usually say that they leave a little extra. We'll see that in there, but almost a 4-inch circle. Yeah, about 3 3/4. And then a lot of pretty extra stamps here that you can decorate it with. Of course, you have hello, just a note. And this one has a little bit different. This one's more just like a garland type thing, where this one has little flowers with the leaves. And then you have thank you, you're the best, be happy, love you, thinking of you, and smile. And I love that they color their carriers. It just looks cute that way. And let's see what these dies are. And then I'll show you the instructions in just a second. They're pretty straightforward. So I'll put these down right here. So each floral or each garland has its own die, which is nice. And then we have dies for some of the extra pieces that you can stamp, which is always really great to have. So I can see that we have one for this guy, this little garland, one for this guy, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, for that guy. And then this one is, I'm assuming, this leaf spray here. Yep. And then this cute little kind of laurel type thing right here. Really pretty. And then, of course, we have all these different circles, and you might wonder what they're all for. So I'll show you the instructions. Oh, this is cute. It also has some foliage dies. So generally, you're going to cut like your foam with some of these. You're going to cut your circles with some, like your acetate, and then you have this larger circle. And this one right here makes confetti, and this confetti is super cute. I don't know if you can tell, it's like a hexagon, like a little honeycomb shape, and then it also it's going to cut like little tiny diamonds. So we'll use that obviously, so in a little bit you'll see what that looks like. So let me grab the instructions just to quickly go over them so you can see. They always come with color instructions that are really nice. And again, you know, the double ring or the double whatever it is, whenever you get a shaker set, there's always one that has like these 2 lines but they're stuck together, is the one that cuts your foam. So We have that. We have the confetti die. It's telling you to go ahead and cut your acetate there. And then, you know, which one are you going to stamp? And then you have your die to cut that out. And you layer it up. And then Wreath Style 2. Oh, that's nice. So this is Wreath Style, but the different size circles, that's what I was looking at here, is that you can just cut, you know, your circle aperture if you want to do a shaker in that way. So it's a little, just a nice clean circle, and then you can decorate it up with some of these extra pieces. So let me grab some paper and we will get started. Okay, so as you go by the instructions, I usually like to do my topper first just so I have it ready, but I'm going to go ahead and go this way because I'm going to do something a little bit different with the stamping. So you're going to cut your foam circle. So let me get that cut out. And it says to apply it to your project, which that would mean you need your card base or at least the topper ready to go. So I'm going to take one of the pieces of foam. And then you're going to take that double circle. And if you want to be, you know, you can put it closer to a side or an edge or however you want to do that. I was going to tape it, but you know what? We can just hold it. So let me put this over to the side here. And of course, your kit always comes with a new cutting folder, but I'll use a very well-loved one here. So pop that in there. I've used this folder so many times that you can't even discern anymore what was cut. Like there's just so many cut lines. And with this one, you're going to have this really great piece that you can use for dimension later. You can use to cut out other things with it, and you have this foam piece. You do whatever you like with that, of course. And really right now we just need this one. And then I had mentioned this one, if you wanted, I had centered it, if I would have centered it. You could put another piece of just regular paper that's the same size, cut that circle, and then you have another aperture for like a square card that you can still put shaker stuff in, of course. So I'll keep those to the side. We just need this right now. But what they had mentioned is that you can stamp within the circle if you would like. So I'm going to stamp it first because what I'm going to do is use some embossing powder. So I do have just a regular standard A2 size card, 8.5 by 5.5. You're going to score it at 4 1/4 or just fold it like I do. But it's better if you score it. It looks nicer. And then I'm going to have this guy on here. So real quickly, I'm going to hit this with my embossing buddy. You don't always have to use these things, and it leaves like, I'm assuming there's like cornstarch or something like that in here, but same kind of thing, just so I don't get embossing powder stuck all over the place. Now I'm just going to kind of imagine when I use my stamp, of course I'm going to use the one with the flowers. It's going to be like here. So again, like the stamping, the hello, whatever it is that you want to stamp, I'm going to take the Be Happy and just kind of eyeball it, and then I'll just work with that. Wherever that ends up being the middle or the center, that's what I'm going to use. So I have my Be Happy. And then I have some gold pigment ink. And this stuff, again, is notorious. It takes a long time to dry. Okay, sorry, I was thinking about maybe orienting it a different way, but then I changed my mind back. So let's go ahead and stamp that Be Happy. All right, and all I need is the pigment ink just to be on there well enough so that I can get this on here. This is just some gold embossing powder I've had for maybe a decade or so. And let's bring this over. That's pretty good. So most of it came off again because I used that little pad to go over it, but just erase the rest of that. And I'm just going to hit this with my heat tool, and this should not take too long because it's very small. Okay, I'm going to give that a minute to settle. I don't know, I always feel like if you squish it, it'll squish, but I don't think it does. Okay, I'll be right back. Bring our card base back. And if you haven't noticed by the base of my card, I'm going to make this more tropical, a little more floral in that way. But again, you can make it as fall or any season as you like. So, oh, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my card base. And this piece of paper is just 4 by 5 1/4. So just a 1/4 inch smaller than your card base. I've got a little glue on there. Alright. Little recollections paper got a little wonky on me. Okay, I'm going to fix that by just adding a little bit of glue in here. This is tacky glue. I don't know what this paper is doing, but I'm going to hold that down with a weight. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I was just holding that down. I don't know, it got a little wonky, I guess because of the heat on there, but I've never seen that really happen to paper before. Okay, so on this next step, which would be, I suppose, step 2, again, if you want to stamp that, you're going to go ahead and take your ring. You can keep the top on it so nothing gets sticky or, you know, messed up while you're waiting, while you're doing other steps. And just place it wherever it's kind of centered. I would say like there. Or however you like. I mean, if you want it higher up and that be low, whatever you want to do. So I'll put that on there. I'm going to put this to the side for a second. I am going to skip to step 5, which would be the stamping, because I'm going to do some watercoloring. So I want that to have some time to dry. So we're just going to put this to the side for now. And I'm going to take my little wreath and this one here. And I'm going to stamp it with some black pigment ink. You can use Versamark and then use, you know, whatever color. And hopefully you saw the way I just kind of dropped it, because if you know, you can maybe squish it or something. So I just kind of like let it do its own thing and drop it down. You can use Versamark with whatever color embossing powder you like, but this is black pigment ink, and I'll use some clear embossing powder over the top of that. And this is not watercolor paper, just to make it a little less difficult, you know, making you think you need to have certain things. This is just regular, maybe stamping cardstock. It's thicker than Recollections, but it's not as thick as my Crafter's Companion stamping cardstock, so I'm not sure exactly what it is. I got it from my scraps here. Alright, so that is some good pigment ink. I was about to stamp, and I remembered yesterday I want a little help with my stamping. So this is my Diamond Press mat that is well loved. As you can see, there's colors all over it, and so I'm going to bring it out whenever I need to stamp, just so I can make sure to get all this area. So let's do that. And try to make sure I press down all the areas. Ah, nice. Okay. I'm gonna let, well, actually, I'm not gonna let it dry. I was gonna say I'm gonna let this dry because it's pigment ink, but no, we're moving on to embossing it. So I'll put this clear embossing powder because it's just clear embossing powder anyway, so if that gets anywhere else, it's not the biggest deal. Okay, so I'm gonna hold that and get this guy and heat it up, and I'll be back. Okay, so pretty. So what I'm gonna do is just let that again settle for a minute, and then we'll cut it out, and I'll clean up all this mess in the meantime. Okay, so I just cut down my piece of paper here just so it's easier to handle and to manage, and I just have a water brush here. So yeah, definitely remember to use your stamping mat. If you don't have a stamp positioner, especially, just because you want to make sure with the larger stamp like this that when you push down you get all the little areas. When I had first done it, I missed a little section, so I wanted to make sure to bring out that stamping mat and get that done well. Okay, so I'm just going to take some watercolors. Again, you know how I do, just add color. So, you know, I'll dip into like this green here, and I kind of want to keep it a little bit tropical, a little brighter, so I'm just going to fill it in here. Somebody had asked one time before, they're like, oh, I don't understand why you had used the embossing powder. It's just mostly because I like the look of that, but it also will trap your colors in those channels as you're using it, as you're coloring in. So I just like it. You don't have to do anything like that. And again, we can add a little depth of color. I just like to put color down. It's not too technical. So I'll do that with all the green, maybe add a little darker green. And then our flowers, I want to keep them kind of bright, so let's go with magenta. As you can see, the embossing powder, the embossing powder just like repels the color. And then you can come back and maybe in the center add a little more color, just so it has a little, like that. I'll give that a squeeze. And yeah, I'll finish coloring this up and let it dry, and I'll be while that dries, what I'm going to do is grab this little guy here. And we're going to make our confetti. So I do have a couple different colors here of paper that I just had next to me. So I'll just cut some chunks out of this. Let me... So I have roughly like 3 little squares that I'm going to cut out from. And these are double-sided papers, so that the way they look nice on both sides. But if you have, you know, paper that's white on one side, it's just going to have white on one side when you put it in for your confetti. And so what I'm going to do is just cut that out. Oopsie. And depending on how this comes out, sometimes what I do is I will put this on like some kind of paper. Came out nice and clean, so that's really cool. And we have all our little pieces here. Hold on. So I'm just using my nail to kind of run over them. So cute. I'm just going to pop a couple of these out. And what I do with this paper is I'll then funnel it into our card. Again, that's the instructions there that they say to do it in this manner. But if you want to have your acetate cut and everything just ready to go before you do this part, that'd probably be good. That way you don't accidentally spill any of this when you go to manipulate your card. So I'm just going to take that and pop it in there. And I'll do the exact same thing with the green and the pink. Okay, and here's my last little bunch. On the second with the pink paper, they all just fell out. And then the green paper, some fell out and some were still in there. So it's just a combination of how they came out, but look how pretty. Oh, I love it. That's kind of why I went with the black background, so they would pop. Okay. So that's step 3. We already did step 5 and 6. Well, 5. And then just quickly, I'm going to cut out the shim. So this was what I was talking about. You need that little extra oomph. So very easy, especially the way they make it so that we have all our pieces ready to go. So you need the larger circle, okay? And it's around the little honeycomb thing, the larger circle. We need 1 metal shim. And there are several in here. So, and they are pretty thin. That feels like 1. Okay. And we need our acetate sheet. So, we're going to get our cutting folder. As you see, this one is one that I use for larger dies because I like it to keep it a little bit straighter. Well, not straighter, but just not so cut up so that it pinches my other paper. So we have our metal shim, we have our acetate, and the larger circle face down so it cuts into these things here. I'm going to move this over just a little bit. Just hold it real steady. I think it moved because it's very slick. We'll see if I got that. Yep. It had moved just all the way down if you see that, but it got it, so we're good. So maybe you want to hold it a little tighter than I did. All right, and then all you're going to do with this guy is pop it on here. So it's super easy. So you're just going to remove this piece, and then this will come on here. And I suppose if you wanted to stick this to the back of the other piece first, you know, you can do that. You get a little static. So I normally don't fret over stuff like that. Like if that's there and it wants to be there, that's fine. It's going to be behind the thing anyway. So that's our shaker. Cute. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this guy back over, and I am going to make myself a aperture because I want to make sure to hit this right, but I also want to make sure I have the right die for this. So it's the one with the kind of a lump. See this area here? It looks the same as in the picture. Okay, so that's the one we want. But again, to make an aperture, all I'm going to do is run this through some scrap paper. And this can be it. Maybe a little smaller so it goes through. Okay. All I'm going to do is tape this down real quick. And that way this will help me with my placement. Oopsie. So we don't really need any of this stuff, and even if it fell, just like you see it cut through it, that's not a big deal. All I want to do with this is see through it so I know where to place this. So I think that larger section covers this area here. Yep. Can you see how that fits in there really nicely? Let me make sure. Not too bad. Hold on. Okay. Since it did move on me, I just want to make sure. And I'm going to tape this. So we should be pretty close. I'm putting a lot of tape because I have a feeling I need to cut this excess off. So I want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to cut that through and we have our frame pretty well cut out there. So cute. Let me see how I want to place it though. I don't know if it matters. Yeah, I guess you can just kind of play with it and see exactly where you want to. Oh, that's so cute all together. Likes me with that little bulkiness there. Do you want it down here? Do you want it to the side? So I'm trying to decide here. Something like that. Okay, and I'm going to use my Call Out all-purpose glue because it won't warp anything. Let me clean up a little bit around here. I'm just going to put this down the center, kind of around here. I suppose if you wanted to follow it, you could put it on the acetate just so you know you're right on that rim there. But this will be fine. So pretty. I love these colors. And then you have your Be Happy. Of course, I need to loosen it up. Hold on. So whenever I start out making a shaker, in that center, I always pile everything in there. You guys got to get it loose. And then after that, it's not going to get stuck anymore. But you got to break it loose. There we go. Aww. So our sentiment's already in there. If you didn't want to do that, obviously you can add your sentiment later or somewhere else. Let me think of what else I can do for this bottom portion here, and I'll be right back. So looking at everything, we have lots of stamps. If you want to even make your own background with the stamps, that would be really pretty because there's just a lot going on. But what I think I'm going to do is maybe use this one, the little floral piece here, or foliage piece. Let me get it off of here without destroying my nails. Hold on. There we go. And I'm just going to cut maybe 2 out of this green. Here I have an even smaller piece of green I can use. So I'll just run this through a couple times and I'll be right back. Okay, I got my little pieces here. I think I do. Yeah, there it is. Alright, and I was just going to add some down here somewhere and maybe up at the top. I don't know. Just adds a little something extra that makes it a little more. There we go. I think that'll be fine. And you know what? I've never tried to put this one on the back of my hand. Let's see what happens. And again, if you want to keep it flat or if you want to give it some motion, you don't have to completely stick it down. Pretty. Alright guys, so the links will be in the description box. Remember, craft day is on September 11th. I understand it's not a full craft day, so there'll be shows in and out throughout the day, obviously. But you can check the program guide, and I think Beth had gone over the the schedule yesterday in her Facebook Live. If you want to check that out, I believe it's on my Diamond Presses Facebook page. And thanks for watching, guys. Thank you so much, Diamond Press, for sending these for my review. Look how pretty. And again, a little more tropical, a little, you know, different season, but color it whatever colors you like and use whatever colors and it'll change it up for that time. And I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.